Hi there, I'm going to show you how to do a full slip for these 18-inch dolls. I'm going to use Kyla as a model. You can use, this is okay. This will work for the American girls also. Basically what this is, let me see if I can go full so you can see the whole thing. It's a full skirt for like a, like the Cinderella gown. I'm trying to come up with a gown for the 2015 Cinderella doll, but Cinderella gown. But anyway, here's the skirt I came up with. I used a rectangle, and I went 30 inches by about 9.5 plus her waistband. I decided not to go with a gather around here because it was just too bulky. So I ended up putting a waistband on here so I could get a really tight-fitting bodice, because I really want that bodice to be really tight-fitting. I can't do it with her on the base, but you get the idea. But anyway, we're going to start with the slip, because that's the first thing you're going to need, and you're going to need a really full skirt to get that really full looking poof on the bottom of the slip and the skirt. So first thing we have to do is we got to get our tool ready. So I'm using regular wetting tool. It's the stuff that comes on the 6-inch rolls. It comes in multiple colors, so you don't have to make white. You can make any color you want. You're going to need, I've got 4 layers of gathered tulle to make this slip, and what I've done is I've folded the tulle in half and gathered it. So I've probably gone through half a roll, so it's probably going to take half a roll to get one slip. I'm just guessing. It's all going to depend on how tight you make your gathers and how many rows you want to put in your slip. It's, it's whatever you really want to do. But anyway, so basically take your sewing machine. I'm using plain white thread. I'm going to set my upper tension to between 8 and 9. So you're going to have to play with it and find out what works best for your machine. I'm going to set my stitches to, I want my stitch to be the middle so I can see exactly. So I'm going to put my needle in the center position, and I'm going to go with a full gathering stitch. I'm not going to use the regular gather because it's just too much. You have to play with your machine and find out what works best for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this in half, and I'm going to sew it to put gathers in it. But as I sew it, I'm going to create tension, not only with the upper tension, but I'm also going to pull a little bit on here to make those gathers. And every couple, maybe every yard, a foot, like every 12 inches or so, I'm going to make a couple back stitches, so that'll keep the stitches in place. If I don't do that, it's going to have a tendency to, I'm going to have a tendency when I cut these for the different layers, I'm going to have a tendency to lose my stitches. So when you put those back stitches in, you sort of lock them between those two spots. You can go less than a foot, but whatever seems to work for you. But you want to put that lock in there so that your gathers will hit a knot in there, so they won't go further than you want them to go. Okay, I hope that was clear. Okay, anyway, so let's go ahead and start. We're going to fold our soft tulle in half. Don't use the organza. I mean, you could, I guess, but for our purposes, we want a nice, soft-looking slip. So let's go ahead and pull that down. We're going to let the machine do all the gathering, so we're not going to do any gathering. So do a couple stitches, do a back stitch a couple, just to lock those stitches in place. Okay, so now we're going to start the actual gathering process. You're going to have to work with your machine, practice a little bit to see what works for you. I'm just going to use a slight tension. See how I'm using just a slight tension here? I've got glitter on here. I've been sewing with glittery stuff. Okay, so let's do a slight tension and just give a little bit of resistance with our hands. Okay, and you're going to be able to see that the gathers are going to start. Let me get going for a while so then I can show you out the back what this is turning out to look like. Okay, so just fold, and you're going to need a lot of this, so probably go through half a roll. Add a little bit of tension, not too much tension because you don't want too many gathers. Okay, do a back stitch. Then come forward again, lock those stitches in place, fold. Once you get going on this, you can just zip right through this, and you'll get your tension right once you keep going. Okay, if you find that you're getting too many gathers, then you're stretching your fabric too much, or your upper tension's too high. So I'm going to go down to, I'm getting too many gathers, so I'm going to change my tension down to 8, and I'm not going to stretch as strongly on the front. So let's try it again. I might have to cut that off, it's too many gathers. But if that's what you want, then, you know, like I said, you can make your gathers as tight as you want, or the nice thing about doing it like this is you don't need to have a pleating and gathering foot on here. You can just do it with any regular foot. I think I'm just using the J. Okay, let's see if I got it better. Yeah, see, not as many gathers, not as full. So I think I hit the right spot on what I want for my gathers. I don't want it too gathery, but I want it gathered enough so that I'm happy with it. So let's keep going. I'll do a little bit more and show you what it looks like, and then I'll finish this up, and then we'll start on the cotton part. If you go off a little bit on your fold, it's not the end of the world. You're never going to notice anyway. And like I said, you can really start getting going on this once you get into a rhythm, and you can get through yards and yards of it without even thinking about it. Just getting that tension right is all you really need to do. Okay, one more, then I'll show that's the... And if for some reason you skip a spot, or you lose, you don't get enough gathers, you can always fix it once you get onto the actual, when you're actually sewing it onto the actual slip itself. Okay, so basically that's all there is to it. And you know, you can actually move these around at a certain point, like there's between my two back stitches, and then you can just move this around and do it. But that's how I did all the gathers on the slip. So okay, anyway, I'm going to get a bunch of this done, and then we'll come back and we'll start on the cotton part of the tulle. The cotton part of the skirt.